Hello, everybody. So, because I couldn't sleep and because I was watching Andrew Dotson's very good live stream on YouTube where he's trying to get to grips with the lecture notes given by David Tong from Cambridge University about string theory, I thought I'd wax lyric about string theory for a little bit and go through the same lecture notes. So, here we go. The lecture notes, the contents of the introduction, both gravity and why string theory is an ambitious project purports to be an all-encompassing theory of the universe unifying forces of capital N nature, including gravity in a single quantum mechanical framework. The premise of string theory is that at the fundamental level, matter does not consist of point particles, but rather tiny loops of string. From this slightly absurd beginning, the laws of physics emerge: general relativity, electromagnetism, and Yang-Mills gauge theories all appear in a surprising fashion, however, become extra baggage. String theory gives rise to a host of other ingredients and striking extra-spatial dimensions of the universe beyond the three that we have observed. The purpose of this course is to understand these statements in detail. These lectures differ from most other courses that you will take in a physics degree. String theory is a speculative science. There is no experimental evidence, crucially, that string theory is the correct description of our world, and scant hope that hard evidence will arise in the near future. However, string theory is very much a work in progress, and certain aspects of the theory are far from understood. Unresolved issues abound, and it seems likely that the final formulation has yet to be written. For these reasons, I'll begin this introduction by stressing some more answers to the question, why study string theory? Why study string theory at all? I don't get it. You will find out during the course of this video that I despise string theory. I despise string theory, and I'm going to go on a quick tangent here, because string theory was actually the reason that got me out of studying physics. I may well have studied physics at A-level in the UK, and I may well have applied myself a bit harder at sciences had I not encountered string theory at GCSE, and had I not gone to this particular lecture given by these popularizers of science that my school was invited to, where they're talking about all matter being tiny loops of string. I just turned off without putting extra dimensions, and I turned off, and I'm like, this is all total rubbish. This is all just complete nonsense, and it's more than that, it's pernicious, unprovable nonsense. So I don't string theory at all. Okay, reason one: string theory of quantum gravity. I'm trying to get into why it actually is a theory of quantum gravity at all. I don't. String theory unifies Einstein's theory of general relativity, quantum mechanics, moreover, it does so in a manner which is explicit connection with both quantum theory and the low energy description of space-time. I'm not certain it does, frankly. But quantum gravity contains both technical and conceptual. What does space-time look like at the shortest distance scales? How can we understand physics if the causal structure fluctuates quantum mechanically? I have more to say on that issue. Is the Big Bang truly the beginning of time? Do singularities arise from black holes really signify time? What is the microscopic origin of black hole entropy, and what is it telling us? What is the resolution of the information paradox? Some of these issues will be reviewed later in the introduction. Whether or not string theory is the true description of reality offers a framework with which one can begin to explore these issues. For some, theory, very impressive and compelling answers. For others, string theory has been almost silent. Reason 2: string theory may be the theory of quantum gravity. With broad brush, string theory looks like an extremely good candidate to describe the real world. At lower energies, it naturally gives rise to general relativity, gauge theories, and scalar fields, and chiral fermions. In other words, it contains all the ingredients that make up our universe. It also gives any presently credible explanation for the cosmological constant, although in fairness, I should add that the explanation is so distasteful to some communities, rather immediately split between whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. Or if string theory incorporates several ideas which do not yet have experimental evidence, but which are considered likely to be likely candidates for physics beyond the standard model. Primary examples are supersymmetry and axions. However, while the broad brush picture looks good, the finer details have yet to be painted. String theory does not provide unique predictions for low energy physics, but instead offers bewildering array of possibilities, mostly dependent on what is hidden, but is extra dimensions. Partly this is problem is inherent to any theory of quantum gravity, as we'll review shortly. It's a long way down from the Planck scale to the domestic energy scales, explored the LHC, using quantum gravity to extract predictions for particle physics as akin to using QT to extract predictions for how coffee makers work. But the mere fact that it's hard is little comfort if we're looking for convincing evidence that string theory describes the world in which we live. While string theory cannot at present offer falsifiable predictions and hence isn't even science. It has nonetheless inspired new and imaginative proposals for solving outstanding problems in particle physics and cosmology. There are some feature of non-Gaussianity in the CMB. This is characteristic of D brains that work during inflation. My personal feeling is that each of these is a long shot and may not know whether string theory is right or wrong within our lifetimes. Of course, the history of physics is littered with naysayers, wrongly suggesting various theories will never be testable. With luck, I'll be one of them. And yeah, I might be one of them as well. I happen to think I know why it's not testable. That's also the thing. I don't see how we could ever gain evidence that particles are in fact strings. I don't see how evidence of that could ever really be. I can see sort of how we can get evidence for extra dimensions. As Roger Penrose rightly points out, we may be able to excite these extra dimensions using particle accelerators, and he doesn't really see why we wouldn't be able to excite them. And that's sort of one element that leads me to suspect that string theory is a total crock of nothing. String theory was born from attempts to understand the strong for what was almost 40 years on. Almost 40 years later, this remains one of the motivations for the subject. String theory provides tools with which to analyze down to earth. Of immediate relevance, of course, are the pedagogical reasons for to invest time in string theory.